UFC's heavyweight division is becoming one of the most exciting categories in the sport, all thanks to the new, young, elite prospects that are taking up the torch. While old champions like Stipe Miocic and John Jones are 1 foot out the door, they are being replaced by new blood of better heavyweight fighters that are as deadly as they are exciting to watch. Gelton Almeida and Sergei Pavlovich are just some of the hot prospects, but of course the most promising future star on the roster is undoubtedly Tom Aspinall. By comfortably dismantling the opposition while not being keen to take prisoners, the Englishman not only showed the gap between himself and the rest of the contenders, but also shocked the audience on multiple occasions. It's time to recall some of those moments and mention the 5 times Tom Aspinall shocked the MMA world. Number 5. The Uncharted Waters of the UFC. From December 2014 till September 2019, Aspinall has been snatching souls in the local MMA organizations, issuing his 7 opponents one-way tickets straight to the Dead Sea. The UFC matchmakers couldn't ignore such talent, so they signed the Englishman to the big league. He was welcomed to the promotion by Jake Collier, a dangerous finisher with an 11-4 record, and everyone knew that exploring the uncharted waters of the UFC is not a walk-in-the-park task for anyone. From the opening seconds of the fight, Tom showcased his incredible speed and athleticism by being light on the feet while possessing astonishing speed in his hands. Then he opened the hunting season with a knee, followed by a textbook 1-2 combo that made the opponent kiss the canvas. Despite being a heavyweight, Aspinall showed that he was fast like a cat and boxed like a sniper. 45 seconds was all it took for Tom to put the UFC world on notice, and he was only getting started. Number 4. Versus Sergey Spivak. When Tom Aspinall was matched against Sergey Spivak, the MMA community was curious to see how the Englishman would fare against an elite grappler like the Moldovan. Spivak is a monster on the floor. He is heavy on top and wears down opponents with constant grappling and heavy ground and pound shots, until the referee jumps in for the rescue. Sergey was on a 3-fight winning streak, with notable victories over brawlers like Tai Tuivasa and high-level grapplers like Alexei Oleinik. He was determined to end Tom's successful run with the organization, but the Englishman had a different plan that night. As the fight started, Aspinall stalked his victim like Freddy Krueger, controlling the pace while studying the opponent. The Moldovan seemed composed, as if he was looking for the perfect opportunity to bring the fight to his domain. Sure enough, he shot for a takedown, but taking down Aspinall was a high mountain to climb. While in the clinch, Spivak tried a judo throw and forgot that Tom's striking is as deadly as a .44 Magnum shot. When the moment of realization arrived, it was already too late, as Aspinall unloaded a lightning-fast combo of a knee followed by a nuclear elbow that dropped the opponent to the canvas. The Englishman seized the opportunity and jumped on his prey, unleashing bombs before the referee waved the fight off. This was Tom's 4th fight in the UFC and the 3rd performance of the night bonus. Like the video so far? Make sure to knock out that subscribe button. Number 3. Versus Alexander Volkov. After scoring 4 confirmed kills in the UFC, it was time for Tom to face the most formidable challenge of his career, Alexander Volkov, a top heavyweight contender for years and a battle-tested vet with over 40 bouts on his resume. Volkov is a tough challenge for anyone, considering his height and reach advantage, supported by his high-level striking credentials. Standing at 6 feet 7 inches tall, with an arm reach of 80 inches, Volkov is a colossal giant even for his fellow heavyweights. Drago really knows his way around stand-up fighting. He's got this excellent combination of being tall, having a long reach, and throwing some seriously powerful kicks that hit the mark from a distance. He is patient and skillful in the boxing game. And let's not forget those punishing body kicks. He really showed them off in his knockout win against Walt Harris at UFC 254. The MMA community was eager to see how Tom Aspinall would do against someone much taller than him who possesses serious knockout power in his hands. In the fight's opening seconds, Tom showed that he was not there to play around, as he landed a 3-punch boxing combo that got Volkov's attention. The Russian returned with fire, but none of that was significant. Only a minute into the fight, Tom forced the opponent to fight the battle on his territory. Drago possesses solid grappling skills, but against Aspinall, he looked like a fish out of water. The fight was back on the feet, and the Englishman was the aggressor, keeping the giant on his back foot. A glimmer of hope shined for a moment for Volkov, catching Tom with a powerful right, but the Englishman was not ready to compromise. After missing with a combination, Aspinall executed a perfectly timed takedown, forcing the Russian to his own realm. This time, Tom was determined to seal the deal legally and snatched Volkov's arm to earn the biggest victory of his career up to that point. Number 2. The return after the severe injury. As Aspinall was climbing the rankings, his path turned unfortunate as he suffered a gruesome knee injury in the opening rounds against Curtis Blades. Knee injuries are the worst and can easily end a fighter's career. The Englishman had to step down from the game and recover, but the question that remained was, will he ever return and be as good as he was before? It took him a year to heal and return to the cage, this time against Marcin Tybura, an elite UFC competitor since 2016, being 7-1 in his last 8 UFC fights. Instead of giving Aspinall a warm-up fight after the injury, it appeared as if the UFC matchmakers were trying to throw him to the wolves. However, they didn't realize that Aspinall is the kind of guy you throw to the wolves, and he will return leading the pack. The Englishman wasted no time on the appetizers and went straight to the main course. He opened the hunting season with a vicious high kick, but it wasn't enough to put the Polish fighter down. Not even a minute into the fight, they were in the center of the cage exchanging heavy artillery of fire. Tybura started to swing with haymakers, but Aspinall's gun turned out to be bigger, as he launched a torpedo of an elbow, followed by a guns-blazing boxing combo that dropped the Polish fighter to the canvas. Tom jumped on his victim and pounded some nails, and the referee jumped in to prevent Tybura from leaving the arena horizontally. Can you believe that? After such a gruesome injury, and it was even questionable whether Tom would ever be the same. He not only healed, but returned better than ever, shutting the lights off a top UFC contender within a minute. Number 1. Fighting the scariest knockout machine on short notice? No problem. John Jones was all set to defend the heavyweight title against the former heavyweight champ, Stipe Miocic, on November 11, 2023 at UFC 295. Exciting, right? But guess what? Life threw a curveball, and Jones had to step back because of an injury. Turns out, he tore a pectoral tendon, and you know what they say, sometimes your body just needs a timeout. The circumstances culminated with the UFC matchmakers making Tom Aspinall and Sergei Pavlovich an offer they couldn't refuse, a bout for the interim UFC heavyweight title. Good news for Aspinall, right? Except that on 2 weeks' notice, he had to fight the scariest knockout monster who knocks people out to the shadow realm. Sergey was on a 6-fight winning streak in the UFC, and none of those opponents survived to tell the story of the second round. He is the closest one you can get to Francis Ngannou's punching power, and besides that, Pavlovich isn't just a brawler but a sniper-precise boxer who throws punches with absolute precision. The stakes were high, and Aspinall knew that standing and banging with this Russian powerhouse was not a bright idea to do. Considering that Tom is a high-level BJJ black belt, the UFC community believed his best chance to win is to take the fight to his own domain to neutralize Sergey's power. As a surprise to many, Tom had a different plan that night. He went into the center of the octagon and decided to play Russian roulette at close range against the guy who could turn anyone's lights off with one punch. Sergey caught Aspinall early, but the Englishman didn't even flinch. In a battle of speed versus power, Tom's speed played a crucial role. In their second exchange, Aspinall launched a few ballistic missiles that penetrated Sergey's fortress. The Englishman went for the kill and ended the show only 1 minute into the first round. Tom Aspinall did the unthinkable. He beat the most intimidating brawler in his own game and won the interim UFC fighter with only 2 weeks of preparation. Even having a full camp of training against Pavlovich can hardly be called a salvation, but Tom did it on 2 weeks' notice. The UFC heavyweight division has a new sheriff in town, and his name is Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall's ascent in the UFC heavyweight division is a narrative of dominance and resilience. From his debut 45-second knockout against Jake Collier, to overcoming the elite grappler Sergey Spivak, and the towering Alexander Volkov, Aspinall has consistently defied expectations. His return from a severe knee injury was not just a comeback, but a statement, as he dispatched Marcin Tybura within a minute. The pinnacle of his journey was a short-notice bout against Sergei Pavlovich for the interim UFC heavyweight title. Despite facing a knockout monster, Aspinall's speed and precision secured a victory in just 1 minute. In the face of adversity, Aspinall has not only filled the void left by departing champions, but has also become the new interim champion in the UFC heavyweight division. His story is not just one of triumphs in the octagon, but a proclamation of a new era, marked by speed, skill, and fearlessness. And what do you guys think? Do you believe Tom Aspinall has what it takes to remain a UFC champion for the years to come? How do you think a fight between him and John Jones would go? Share your thoughts in the comments. Please smash the like button and subscribe to help us reach 1,000 subscribers and keep the excitement going in the octagon.